Tina, thanks so much for follow. Was it me? It was not
The
me.
year was 2019.
This is Loom, by the way.
Naruto was spotted at Area 51. Gamer girls started selling their bathwater.
Tell me if you guys can
People
see
were
the video
encouraged
properly.
to toss coins at witches. And the hero of today's tale, Makoto, was about to attend a local Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. Now, the end of 2019 was a bit of a weird time for Yu-Gi-Oh, as this period was marking the final days of one of Yu-Gi-Oh's most beloved formats.
Hi,
Toss,
Mexican Tap Water.
Thunder Dragon, Orcust, Sky Striker, and Salad, with a ban list hitting in October that took away some of their key cards. And this tournament was happening very shortly after that list dropped, meaning it was kind of up in the air as to what the current best deck was.
Okay.
For Makoto, this just meant a new format, and therefore a new environment to try out his pet deck, Necros, which
How's the card game lesson? We are learning history right now. I want you guys to know that this isn't a Yu-Gi-Oh video. This is a history video, okay? Because someone punched a judge at a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. So, hey, history lesson,
which,
guys.
thanks to another ban list update earlier that year, which freed one of its core cards, was now in a much stronger state, and he was very eager to test it out. Our story takes place during the final round of this event, as after a very successful day of Yu-Gi-Oh, Makoto surprisingly found himself at a scoreline of 3-0, and was looking to go undefeated on the day.
Ooh.
Makoto walked over to his assigned table and took a seat, before setting up his playmat whilst he waited for his opponent to arrive. Not so long after, a man roughly in his early 30s approached the table.
Wait, this is a man in his early 30s? I feel kind of attacked right now. I'm dead. Send help.
A seat across from him. Now, the reason I'm pointing out his age was Makoto was only 16, which makes
I'm just so curious now. Who punched the judge? The 30-year-old or the 60-year or the 16-year-old? Oh my god. Who punched the judge? Guys, place your bet. Okay, someone, Hunto, can you do like a what's it, like a poll right now? If you've actually watched this video, don't spoil it, but you know, who do you think won? Who do you think punched the judge? The 30-year-old or the 16-year-old? I think the 30-year-old would be really funny. Wait, can I vote? Can I vote? Oh, I love how everyone says it's a 30-year-old. Let's go. Hi, Phobia.
that's how this story ends, and this 30-year-old guy's behaviour just that more bizarre. After exchanging some not-so-pleasant pleasantries, Makoto and his opponent picked up some dice and rolled to see who would go first. Unfortunately, Makoto rolled low, meaning he was to go second, and so the duel began. His
Rip.
opponent was on Dragon Link, an archetype which, as you might have guessed,
Was it Trish? Did Trish punch a judge? 30-year-old playing Dragon Link. I feel personally, I'm not even 30, but you know, if a 30-year-old man who plays Dragon Link punched a judge, I feel attacked.
mean having good synergy, but this is one of the few
You don't
archetypes
sound-
that is
I'm not
literally
30.
just a pile of the best dragon cards stuffed together, with the end goal of the deck being to
Shut the fuck up, I'm in my mid-20s. You guys know that. You guys know that. I'm in my mid-20s. Stop trying to age me up, bitch.
summon as many of the biggest and most powerful dragon monsters available, in hopes that your opponent just simply won't be able to crack through the field. Which is exactly what occurred in Game 1, with Makoto starting his
Ooh.
first turn by staring down a field of practically unbeatable dragon monsters, with multiple negates and removal effects. So he decided it probably wasn't worth the effort and moved on to Game 2.
I'm not gonna lie. Him not deciding it's not worth the effort and just conceding, it makes sense. It makes sense. It makes so much sense. Like, on God.
Game 2 was the polar opposite of Game 1, with Makoto taking a look at his opening hand. Vanity's Ruler and Unicorn.
No, Vanity's Ruler is crazy.
This wasn't going to be a fun time for his opponent. Vanity's Ruler is a monster that when on the field, prevents all special summoning, which is basically all Dragon Link tries to do.
Oh.
And Unicorn negates the effects of all special summon monsters from the extra deck, which is basically where all of his opponent's big dragons come from.
So far, all we know about this is 30-year-old bro playing Dragon Link or the 16-year-old playing Necros? Who do you think punched the judge? We don't know yet. But anyways, welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in, welcome in. It is interesting because we are placing bets right now. Who punched the judge? 30-year-old or the 16-year-old? Very curious.
Few combos, he ended on both monsters.
I didn't
and passed
fucking
the
punch
turn.
the judge. It wasn't me,
It was
guys.
very clear at this point that his opponent was not happy with what Makoto had summoned, as he spent the next few minutes just huffing and puffing, and not so conspicuously, throwing curses under his breath, before finally admitting he just couldn't find it out, and therefore moving on to Game 3.
Bro played Vanity's Ruler and one of the Necros cards that prevents like special summoning. I feel like I'd be pissed too, but you know, I definitely wouldn't say it out loud. I wouldn't be like, man, fuck you. Actually, no. I might flip the table. I don't know yet. Maybe. We'll be toxic. Flip the table. Why not?
A very similar fashion to Game 1. His opponent had opened an absolute god hand and proceeded to once again set up a practically unbeatable board state of multiple negates and removals, and with a very smug look on his face, he passed the turn back over to Makoto. Makoto was sweating. He checked his hand for the 100th time. He'd already had plenty of time to weigh up his options during the previous turn, whilst he'd watched his opponent basically playing solitaire, and unfortunately, he knew he had no options. He slowly moved his head to look at his deck. He still had his draw for turn. Maybe if he just top-decked... yeah, he couldn't think of anything. He reached over and drew his card. Super Polymerization. For those
That's
who don't know what this
the
card
out!
does, basically allows you to discard a card to perform a fusion summon on
Super
either player's
poly.
field
Oh
as
my
material.
god, that's crazy.
And what makes this effect even more broken is it cannot be responded to, meaning your opponent can't negate it.
Oh, he's
Now the
fucked.
downside of this card is in order for it to be used as removal, your extra deck has to have fusion monsters, and those fusion monsters have to match the materials that your opponent might be running. If your opponent isn't playing any monsters that can be used as material, it's just a completely dead card. The two fusion monsters Makoto ran were Mud Dragon of the Swamp and Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, with only Starving Venom being summonable here, as it required two dark monsters, to which his opponent had an abundance of. Unfortunately though, he knew that after removing those two monsters, it wouldn't really change anything, as he would still have to play through 3 or more forms of disruption, and considering Super Poly requires a discard, he will be down 2 cards already. Odds are, even if he did manage to break the field, he wouldn't be able to set much up to avoid the clapback on the following turn. Makoto reached over and picked up his extra deck, and reluctantly began sifting through it, looking for his Starving Venom.
The old
But
dude's
as
the
soon as he
Dragon Link
took
player,
Starving
the
Venom out
30-year-old.
of the deck, it revealed the card below it, and he stopped for a moment. He was currently staring at another fusion monster, a card he'd completely forgotten about. You see, Necros has an interesting ritual spell. A ritual spell allows you to ritual summon by using your extra deck monsters as tribute, rather than your hand or field like normal. This meant in order to get the most use out of the card, Makoto had to run a random level 12 monster in the extra deck for his ritual summons. It didn't matter what monster it was, it just had to be something level 12 in order to get the most value out of his ritual spell. But Makoto's choice of monster just happened to be a fusion monster.
Wait.
Fusion monster that requires a very specific set of materials you typically would never see in a Yu-Gi-Oh match.
No.
Makoto looked over at his opponent's field and began counting. 1, 2, 3, 4... Oh my god, this was going to work. Makoto declared the activation of Super Polymerization. His opponent looked at the card, then rose his head, and with a slightly agitated look, asked, "Alright, which of my monsters are you planning to fuse?" Makoto looked his opponent dead in the eye before responding, "All of them," before slamming 5-headed dragon onto the field. He watched his opponent's expression drop to match his jaw that looked like it was about to hit the floor. 5-headed dragon is a fusion monster that requires 5 dragon-type monsters in order to summon it, which just happened to be the exact amount of monsters on his opponent's field. His opponent's gaze of astonishment quickly changed to one of rage as he got up from his chair and yelled, "Who the actual fuck plays that as a super poly target?" before going on a massive screeching rant about how lucky Makoto was that he'd messed up his combo on the previous turn and left an extra dragon on the field that normally wouldn't be there, before calling Makoto a whole bunch of names that I can't repeat if I want to keep this video monetized.
Ooh.
After hearing all the commotion, of course, the judge of the event quickly rushed on over to the table. Dude, calm down. If you don't settle down, I'm going to have to kick you.
Oh!
Before the judge could even finish his sentence, his opponent had done a full 180 and immediately socked the judge right in the nose, while screaming, "And fuck you too." Now, after hitting the judge, it must have hit him what he'd just done, as he just immediately picked up his cards and belted it out of the store, not even bothering to pick up his playmat. After the event concluded, the store owner contacted the police, and the judge pressed charges. Whether or not anything came from that, Makoto doesn't know, as he never heard about or came across the guy again. But since the guy never came back, Makoto did end up getting to keep the playmat the guy left behind, which he's kept to this very day, and sent me a picture of to show in the video. And that is going to mark the end of today's tale. Thank you so much, Makoto, for sharing your story in the comment section of one of my previous videos. And as per usual, if you too have a story or tale...
Guys, the mat actually looks kind of sick. By the way, to everyone who predicted the 30-year-old had a crash out, you were absolutely right. I mean, maybe it's fake, but honestly, who knows? All I know is that shit was funny as fuck. What the hell? I wish that was me. Okay, I get the tilt. I'm not gonna lie, I get the tilt. If someone were to super poly me and be, if someone were to super poly me and then be like, yeah, all of the fucking cards, yeah, I would have just like died on the spot. That was so silly. That was so dumb. So true. Oh man, when you run a card that comes up and that never comes up 99% of your duels, but the 1% of times is glorious. This is like, I've gone autopilot. Yeah, I honestly, I probably would have just like scooped and like gone home. But punching the judge is crazy. That is insane. And fuck you too is an awesome catchphrase for punching someone. Okay, I do not condone punching the judge, by the way. I do not condone it. That is not good. I do, however, think that it's so funny, it's insane, and he direct attacked that man, for sure.